Manny, how you doing, man?
I'm good, bro. What's
All
up
right,
with you?
you look stressed though.
I'm it's been a challenging day on many fronts, but parenting in particular. So we can get into it. Let's introduce our guest first.
All right. Well, yeah, we are honored to have a special guest today. We got he's a radio personality. You hear him all the time. 1/3 of the Breakfast Club, DJ, producer. I'm kind of seeing him as a real estate mogul at this point as
For
well,
sure, for
among
sure.
many other things. So welcome to Fatherhoods. But wait, most importantly, he's a
He's the
father. That's
father.
why he's here.
That's
So
the most important part here.
welcome DJ Envy to the Fatherhoods podcast.
So much, man. Thank you.
Yeah, you can have platinum plaques, but it wouldn't matter on this podcast, right?
Nah, it doesn't matter. I ain't mad at it.
Well, first, man, a congrats is in order because you just recently welcomed in child number 6, correct?
Yeah, baby number 6 is here.
Wow.
Wow.
Peyton Casey. So baby number 6. So now I got 4 girls and 2 boys.
Yeah,
I'm actually in my daughter's room now. So if you see the pink stuff, my baby is actually in my room in the bassinet. And I came in my daughter's room because my son's room I know it probably smells like football and stuff. I know my daughter got the cleanest room, so I came in her room to do this.
I mean, that could be your office, and you're on the Dipset type drip.
I was
Yeah,
just
yeah.
thinking
Could
that.
be that.
Right.
I was just thinking you got that camera on swag going on.
Yeah, but here's my daughter's room.
So
So-
6 kids. And
Wow.
Wow.
Yo, and
brother.
let's just be clear. These are all with the same lady.
Yeah,
Right.
all with my wife, and they all live in my house. So it's
Yeah.
not like I got
Yo, props to
one over
her,
here,
man.
one over there. Yeah, so I got 6, and they all live here, all with the same. My wife, I've been with her 27 years. We've been married
Wow, congrats.
21 years this May.
Wow. Congrats, man.
Thank
Come on
you.
now, let's applaud that.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure. I got 2 kids, and I'm pulling out hair I don't even have.
Yo, but hold on, Evie. So I like the way you phrased it. You was like, yeah, 6 kid this year. Almost like if you are used to having kids almost every year.
It's pretty
Kinda,
much.
sorta.
Pretty much.
It's like his album release schedule.
Right, yeah.
Right.
Annual baby showers they used to call it. But yeah, we had 2 early. I had 2 when I was in my early 20s, 22, I think. And then right after that we had another one, and then we just chilled. And then when your kids get a little older, it's like you miss that feeling of a baby, of a child, of growing. And financially I was doing well. And I said, let's have another one. And we had another one, and then another one, and then another one, and then another one. And it is what it is. I mean, it's I love being a father. Like, I'm a full-time dad. I'm not a dad that
Right.
just throws money on the table. Like I said, my baby, who is probably 9 weeks now, it's in there with me. My wife is at my other house, and the kids are in school, and my son is in school. My daughter, she goes to NYU. So this is full-time job.
So how do you balance that?
Yo,
though?
yes.
Like,
Let's get
you
right
gotta
into
give
that.
us some tips, because
Mhm.
it's
Well,
you have a full-on career. You're very successful, but you said you're a full-time father. Like, I like to say I'm a full-time, what does that say? Full-time father, part-time everything else, or something like that.
Yeah.
Is it saying that? So how do you balance that?
So for most of y'all, if people know me personally, or even if they don't, they seen my kids before. And that's usually because I take my kids with me. So it's like my daughter has been around with me. So when I do the car shows, my daughter is the one, she runs the merch. So she runs the merch, she orders the merch, she sells the merch. That's her job. She gets paid, she gets a salary for that. My son is the same. So if you ever see me at the Super Bowl, or this week I was at the Knicks game, like, I'm with my son. I'm not with my boy. I'm not with the homie. No disrespect to my boys and the homie, but that's my son. You know what I mean? So
Right.
me and him is sitting at the games. We're sitting, at the Super Bowl. We're going to those things because those are those moments. And sometimes when I do take a trip, let's say I'm out in Miami doing a show, or if I'm overseas, I take the whole family. We make it a whole vacation. So everybody goes. It's a little stressful because, having kids going through airports and hotels and checking in and all that is a little stressful, but I mean, they get to experience the world because of who their dad is, and I love it.
Yo,
Was it always like that though, or did you find that you were, there was a learning curve when you were younger and when you had the younger kids? Because now it seems like you're including the older kids in things that they can actually do.
Yeah, well, before they couldn't necessarily come with me. So like I could get my daughter comes to the club with me, you know what I mean?
Right.
And it's better for me. Some people are like, nah, I ain't partying with my kids, but For me, it's like I'd rather them learn from me. Like I'd rather them look, say, oh, you see that about to happen? That means they're about to shoot it up. Let's slide. You come in the club, you know where the back door, the front door, to this door, to that door. You buy yourself a drink. You don't want nobody putting stuff. Like I'm able to teach my kids what to look for. You know what I mean? A lot of times we're not able to do that. You know, parents, oh, I'm not going to the club with my kids. Nah, I want my kids to come with me. Yeah, I want you to come with me. And it's also, I always say my kids keep me young. You know what I mean? When I'm working out with my son or we in the car with each other, I plug in their iPhone. Yo, what you listening to? Oh, that's what you listening to? That's what's hot? Okay. Oh, when we working out, plug in your iPad. And, and then we have the debates, my son tells me Juice WRLD's better than Jay-Z. We have those type of debates, but, it's, those are the moments that keep me young, that keeps me in the know of this music. And so when I hear a new song, and most people are like, I don't know who that is, 9 times out of 10, I know because my son or my daughter already played it for me.
You can stay young for a long time, 6 years in. six kids young.
So can you run down the ages of all your kids? I know the youngest is 9 weeks. But where we at everywhere else?
20. She goes to NYU. 18. He's a sophomore. He's a junior. He'll be a senior next year. And then I got an 8, a 7, and a 5, and then a newborn. So 20, 18, 8, 7, 5.
That's the lineup right there, y'all. Play those numbers.
So going back to, I think what E was getting at when like your 18-year-old and your 20-year-old, and you're younger at that point, and you're like, I don't know how far into your career at that point, but it's a different mindset, a different flow. How were you able to figure out kind of where you are now back then in terms of parenting and including them in what you were doing and finding that balance? Was that just always kind of instinctual for you, or did that take some getting used to and figuring out, all right, this is how I should flow with my kids in order to balance all this stuff out?
Right. Well, one was my parents. Both my parents were in my life. Both my parents raised me. My father is a retired police officer. My mother worked at Guardian Life Insurance. So they were there. You know what I mean? Even though I grew up in Queens and been through everything in Queens, my pops was still pop up on me. You know what I mean? He was the one that you at the bus stop and he just drive by and just look at you so he's there. And I do that to my kids to this day. You know what I mean? He was that type of dad. They were always there. Never missed a game. Never missed this. Never missed that. Always wanted the best for me. So for my kids, it was the same. So when I got my first check, the first thing I did was I was like, I need to leave Queens. I need them to have a space where they're safe. And that's why I moved to Jersey. Now, it was far in New Jersey. When I moved in New Jersey, put it like this, it was where they shot the Jason movies, like the lakes and it was that far out. But at that time, me and my wife had a discussion and I was like, yo, I don't want you to work. And I was like, I know it's going to be difficult. I know it's going to be hard. I know we're going to live 2 hours out. But I was like, I want you to raise the kids. I don't want a nanny. I don't want the school. I don't want a babysitter. I want you to be there. And, she gave up her career. Most people don't know, like she was making more than me. She was helping me out. Right. And she gave up her career to raise the kids. And, like being a full-time mom or being a full-time parent is difficult. Like I tell people all the time, like when my wife be like, yo, I got to go for a day or two, whatever she has to do. And I got to be full-time dad I'm like, when are you coming back? Because, it's like they have a routine and that ain't on my routine. So I F up their whole routine and their schedule. So it's like 2 weeks ago, my wife went to New York with my daughter to help her, fix her apartment up. And I was here for, 12, 15 hours with the kids. And I'm yelling at the little ones like, yo, y'all got to be quiet. This baby's sleeping. If this baby wake up, y'all watching this baby. And they, wrestling and fighting. And I'm yoking them up and they crying and they FaceTime mom. And then mom calls me, why are you being so tough on them? Like, it's a thing, but, it's I love it. I wouldn't change it for the world, though. So to answer your question, it started off from my wife doing it and us just kind of just figuring it out. Like I never missed a football game. I never missed a football game, a basketball game. If I had to drive back from North Carolina to be there, I drove back. If whatever it took, I wanted to be there because there's nothing better than seeing that your kid smile. You can have a stressful day and stressed out and difficult, but when your kid comes and hugs you or gives you that kiss or just smiles, that changes the world for you.
Just to set up realistic expectations for any father listening, right? When you say you never missed these games, there had to be something though that you missed. Like there's things that were priorities for you to not miss, but because you're busy, so you're working, you're paying the bills. There had to be something that you missed.
If there was anything big, I never missed it. It didn't matter how much money it was there. I never missed it, and that's because it's like you don't get those moments again. Right. I'll get an opportunity to make money again. You know what I mean? But your son playing in the Super Bowl at MetLife Stadium, like you'll never see that again. Put it to you like this: my wife was in labor. My son was playing at MetLife Stadium. The doctor was like, "Yo, the baby ain't gonna come for like another 2 hours, 3 hours." My wife was like,
Go.
"Fuck it, let's go watch him play." So we're at MetLife Stadium. She is in labor, and we're watching my son play. You know what I mean? And then right after the game, we went right to the hospital, and the last baby was born. Peyton was born. But that's how we are. We never want to miss anything when it comes to our kids.
That's ill. So
That's
you
dope.
just said something that struck a chord with me because I'm having a conflict right now with so I have 3 kids. I have a 14-year-old daughter, an 8-year-old son, and a 5-year-old daughter. So my 14-year-old, she's playing varsity basketball. She's a freshman here in upstate New York. And she's got mad games this week. And I'm trying to go catch, I've been planning this for months. Her game schedule just kind of came up on us. So I've been like frustrated, like scared to like confront her because her game falls on Saturday, where I also have a bunch of games I'm gonna go watch at Iona College, a bunch of high school games, right? And my intention was to bring her originally, but now she's got her own game, right? And so I'm like, yo, I don't want to miss a game because I know how big that is for her. But I'm like, yo, I'm going to every single game this week. So I finally had the conversation with her. I was like, yo, look, I really want to go to this, but I know you have a game. Help me decide, like, how meaningful is this to you? And she was so like cool about it. She was like, yo, dad, like, it's cool. I know you want to be there and you're supporting me all this way. Like, it's cool. Go enjoy your high school games. And I'm like, because
No, but that's the conversation. But also,
Yeah.
I always tell people it's the village, right? And when I mean it's the village,
yeah, my
like
wife is exactly. My wife's gonna be there.
but not only my wife, like I got my friends. I'd be like, "Yo, my son got a game. I need you to go." And they'd be like, "All right, they're not my brother, but my sons know them because they're always around." So they'd be like, "Yo, Uncle so and so's come to the game. Grandpop, yo, I need you to come to this game." So it's like they still got that village there supporting them, even though dad's not there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's what makes it a little easier at times too. But I'll call them in a minute, like, "Yo, I need you to, yo, low." Yeah, you know what I mean? But just so they got that village and they can see, and then, I ain't gonna lie, I'm also that pop that I be with my wife and be like, "Yo, FaceTime the whole game," and she FaceTiming the whole game, and that way I could see.
Facts, me too. How do you guys stay organized? Because your schedule, the kids' schedules, your wife's schedules, and it's great that you mentioned, because I think the misconception easily could be, yo, Envy's got money. He's probably got a whole bunch of nannies. Like, he's not actively like having to do everything. It sounds like it's you, your lady, and then the supporting cast, which is probably like family members and close friends. How do you guys manage calendars as a basic thing, given all the different things going on?
Now, I'm not gonna lie, that was a huge argument in my house, and the reason being is, most people don't know, but last year was the first time I got an assistant. I never had an assistant before that.
Wow.
I did everything, like parties, everything, hotels, bookings, bills, everything. I did it, and I hired an assistant, and it's a lot easier. We would get in an argument because it'd be like Thursday, and I'd be like, "All right, babe, tomorrow I gotta go to so and so." She'd be like, "You gotta go where?" I'm like, "I gotta go to Florida," and she'd be like, "You told me," and me, I'm like, "Yeah, I told you. You don't remember?" No, and it'd be a big argument, and the argument would be like, "I don't care that you're going, but at least tell me, like, so I can prepare. I'm thinking you're gonna be here. I'm setting up things for you to take the kids to karate so I could do this." So it became a thing. But for me, it's like I have an assistant now. So my assistant breaks it down to what I have to do and this, that, and the other. And it makes things easy. But my problem is I don't trust anybody. So
Yep.
it's like
Same
I
here.
pay my own bills. I invest my own money. Even when I buy a house or investment property or put my money into something, I have to touch it because I want to make sure it's there. I've heard too many crazy stories. So that's just who I am as a person. So there's not too many people. And like I said, we got family. Like Auntie Will right now is going to pick up the kids from school and take them to karate. You know what I mean? And my wife is, like I said, at my new house where we're moving into soon, and she's getting that house together. So it's like, yeah, we do have a cleaning people that do come and clean the house, but other than that, it's just us. We don't trust people driving the kids around and stuff like that. We just don't.
I'm with you on that.
Yeah, I think all of us, especially
a big issue. Yeah,
EFN's on that wavelength for sure.
And I do need an assistant, but I can't even see giving someone access to all your information and stuff like that. But I know that too, it's vital.
but it brought me even more money because now I could focus on content and being a creative,
Right.
and she could focus on everything else. Like even with the car shows, you know, in the car shows, it was only me doing the car show by myself, doing everything. And now when I got an assistant, the assistant's able to get a staff to, okay, well, she hired my daughter. Your daughter will do merch. This person will do this. This person will set up the cars. This person will do this. Where I could just go to the car show now and really enjoy it. Before I was handling merch, I was handling your advertisers, I was handling general population cars, celebrity cars, VIP. I was handling all of that. But now with the having an assistant, it allows me to, instead of doing one car show a year, I can do 5 a year. You know what I mean? And it helps you grow the business.
How did you vet your assistant?
Yeah, I was just about that. What was the criteria you used to decide, yo, I can give this person
Or find how did you find them?
All right. So first of all, my wife was the one that advised us. So let me tell you, um, I don't know if you guys ever heard a story. Yeah, I always find this story. I was coaching my daughter's basketball team, and my daughter's basketball team was playing another team in Jersey in Teaneck. It just so happened Chris Rock's daughter played for the team, right?
Hmm.
So, you know, the coach and I was coaching against him, and we won, right? He had to play them another game the next day because the season was about to end. So when we won, the girls were so excited to see Chris Rock. They went up to him for an autograph, and he said no. Hurt my heart. I was like, these are little girls. Like, how you tell the girls no? So the next day, when we played them, I blew them out by 50, right? By 50. Kept the good girls in, the tall girls, 50. Blew them out. Where Chris Rock was cursing at me, F you, F that, this, that, and the other, right? So the girls came back to him again the next day, and they was like, can we get a picture now? And he was like, no, because your coach is a dick, right? This is what he true story. So the coach was a black woman, right? Fast forward, my son started playing basketball. She started coaching, boys basketball. So my son tried out for the team, made the team. So on that team, you'll start seeing these kids. This kid's name is Derek Whitehead. He's number one. He's ranked number one as a high school player. He's definitely going to the league, ranked number one. Then they have the number 4th ranked kid, the number 5th ranked kid, all this on the team. So they busting ass balling. The team kind of fizzles out when the kids go to high school. I hire her as my assistant. So she's my assistant. My wife was like, yo, you should hire her. And it's good because she's authoritative. Like, you're not pushing her around. She's a coach. Like, she don't play. She don't back down. She's a black woman, and she gets her shit done. You know, she went to college. She played ball in college. She was studying to be an attorney. So it's like, I get all that. So before I get a contract, she reads it and she already breaks down what has to be done before she sends it to the attorney. She is that type of person, and it just works well.
You got to keep it real though. This is not an assistant. You hired a CEO to your company.
Yeah, right.
That's pretty much what it is. But it's like, she's getting an assistant salary for right now, but she gets perks, she gets bonuses. And it's like the first thing when she started working, this is her 2nd year working. I was like, yo, in your 2nd year, you have to buy a house. She just closed on a house like 30 days ago. Like, I'm helping her do all of that. Like, she's investing in money where she's like, it's more than just Envy pays me the salary. It's like, yo, I'm really helping her to grow because I want to see her succeed. I don't want to see her succeed too much when she leaves me, but I want to see her grow. I mean, she's been working with me for a year and got her first crib, 2-bedroom and 3 that and the other. So she's really, really doing well. I'm really proud of her.
So to answer your question that you probably have in your head, Envy got a unicorn. So it's gonna be a bitch for you to find somebody like that.
Yeah, it's not gonna be easy.
Yeah.
Yo, going back to and you were talking about, you guys had the argument about the calendar and everything. Just arguments in general or any kind of conflict. How does that play out with such a large family? Do you guys try to keep that under wraps from the kids? Are they aware if there's tension in the air? How do you guys maneuver that stuff, especially with a large family?
They're totally aware. I mean, they know everything. When we get into our arguments, certain things we try to curve if it starts to get a little nasty. But we try to be respectful when we argue, which took a lot of growing. You know what I mean? I mean, we're totally there. And with the social media era, if something happens bigger than that, you have to know. So, for instance, I cheated on my wife, and it was all, it was all over. And I had to have those conversations with my kids. And reason being is I knew it was going to be on the press. I knew they were going to be able to see it, and we were able to have those conversations. And like I said, I don't know if y'all have daughters, if y'all have sons, but daughters are the most loyal to their dad, right? And I tell everybody the story when I told my daughter that I cheated, I thought my daughter was going to be upset and this, that, and the other. But her first question was, "But who told on you, Dad?" And which is crazy. Like that was her first thing. Like,
wow.
"But who told on you?" Like she was about to get the gun and be like, "Nah, we got to go get whoever told on you." But like it was like that, because she loves her dad so much.
Right.
And we were able to have those conversations based off of that. So anything that we ever been through as a family, we have those conversations. Sometimes it's difficult, sometimes it's easy, but it makes life good. And the reason I don't hide it, like my parents hid conversations from me, is because when I get into that situation, I don't know what to do. Now, if they ever get into a situation like that, they know how to handle their own situation because they spoke to mom, they spoke to dad, they had a conversation about it.
It's amazing advice. It's always
Yeah.
difficult in the moment, but once you build that muscle, and that's the routine, like it becomes a lot easier. But yeah, kudos to y'all. Let's ask. I just want to get back to, like, you mentioned you cheated on your wife. How is it getting back from that scenario to earning that trust again, to being able to function as a full-fledged family?
Difficult. And difficult, not difficult for me, difficult because it's like you have to gain that trust back, like you said. You know what I mean? And I always tell everybody, this is not an excuse. I'm from Queens. You know what I mean? I had glasses, braces. I was 123 pounds. I wasn't pulling no chick. So it was like my wife was really my first everything. So it's now when you get into this game and you get a little celebrity and you get a little money, everybody's coming at you. And it's easy. It wasn't difficult. It was very easy. You know what I mean? And I had to get that ego out my head and say, what's more important? Am I willing to lose my wife, my best friend, somebody that I've known since we were 15 and 16 years old, over what? So you have to start gaining that trust back and realize what it's there for. Like, you know what I mean? Like I tell everybody all the time, I got a phone up relationship, right? So it's like, before, if I went to work and I left my phone at home, I'm turning around to go get that phone. I don't care if I'm gonna be 3 hours late. Now it doesn't matter. I'm like, half the time my wife posts my Instagram. I'm like, babe, post that picture of me on my Instagram. You know what I mean? Or, same thing. If my wife would take my phone by accident, and there is no fear in my heart, like, oh my God, it doesn't exist because I don't play those games no more. But you live and you learn. And she developed like, nah, she's seen the change. She see what it is. And I'm sure it might be still in her mind every once in a while, but I think that we're at a way better place. And I think for our relationship, I think it made us a better couple because now we're free. And when I say free, it's like people talk, me and my wife is best friends, me and my girl's best friends. We talk about everything, but do you really? Like I can talk to my wife about everything, no judgment, whether it's something that went on in the Breakfast Club or something that went on in everyday life, and we're real with each other to the point where my wife would be like, yo, you was kind of hard on your son today. And I'd be like, well, he needs it. And then she'd be like, well, I'm just telling you this, that, and the other. And then I'd be like, all right, let me go back and go apologize to little nigga. And and then me and Logan had that conversation, or me and Jackson had that conversation, you know what I mean? But yeah, it made our relationship, and I hate when people say it, but it's the truth. It made our relationship stronger.
Well, yeah, definitely. If you get through it, it's gonna make it stronger. Really quick, you touched on social media, and one of the things that I'm interested to talk to people that are, in the lifestyle that we're in the industry that we're in. How do you shelter your kids, or do you even try, from like trolls and all that negativity on social media?
Okay, so my younger ones are not on social media. So the 8, 7, and 5, they don't have a telephone, They don't have a social media. They got iPad where they watch, their stuff. My son plays Roblox, and I don't really like it because anybody could create a thing in Roblox, and I'm having that problem now because people just create fucked up places, and he goes in there, he don't know what they're saying, he doesn't understand. But
you got to mute the chat too that's on there too. You start seeing wild shit on there.
Absolutely. So that's one thing I have a problem with, but for them, it's not a problem. But my older ones, it's kind of good that they grew up in the era of me getting caught and me hitting up all that, because they can deal with it easier. You know,
Right, they
my
got a
son
crash
has a
course.
problem. And the thing with my son is, you know, me and Charlemagne play all day on the radio, right? All day, like whatever. But his friends listen on the way to school. So sometimes when he go to school, they make fun of him. Oh, your dad does this. Oh, your dad, you know what I mean? Which at first I know it was difficult, but I had to tell him, I'm like, yo, your dad does that, but your dad's a millionaire and you're going to be a millionaire at the age of 21. So you could believe, you could go off that out, but you know who your father is. And, you know, we had to have those conversations, you know what I mean? You know, but it's difficult, but as long as I just have those conversations, we good.
But do you ever see, at least, or hear from your kids, does a crazy, like, because there's some like crazy trolls in social media that say some wild ass shit, you know, that is kind of like, if I'm a parent and I see, well, I am a parent, but if I see my daughters and my son, if they're older, because they're young right now, they're 3 and 1.5. Once they're older, if I catch something in their DMs that I've seen shit, people talking like, yo, I'm gonna murder you, I'm gonna kill you, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. Like, I wouldn't know how to handle that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can handle it for myself, but for my kids, I don't know how I could
But
handle that.
you know what I realize is a troll is a troll. You can't stop it. I mean,
Right.
and if you allow that to upset you, your stress levels will be to the roof, man.
Right.
Instead of your beard just being gray, your mustache should be gray, your eyebrows
I
should be
mean,
gray.
come on, look, you already see how I handle stress over here.
So I mean, it'll drive you crazy. So I don't allow it to bother me. I just try to keep my kids as safe as possible. And with that
Right.
is you know, I always tell people this, right? And this is gonna sound like some bougie shit, but I don't give a fuck. We work hard to provide for our family, right? And I work hard so my kids ain't got to go through the same things that I have to go through. So if I have to put my daughter in a building with a doorman and a key code where she has to get in the elevator and it costs me a little extra money, I'm willing to pay that extra money for her safety. For my son, if that means that if he wants to go somewhere, I got to send somebody with him, not to quote unquote be security with him, but just to be in the club and to be in the spot, to be in a place, just to make sure they good. I'm gonna do that. For instance, my son went to Rolling Loud in Miami. I sent him with 2 people. Like, they weren't holding his hand the whole time, but they was in Rolling Loud with him. If anything happens, they're able to pull him out, and they know better than what they are. So those are the things that I do to make sure my kids is good, to make sure that they're protected. You know, I'm into dogs, so you know I got a bunch of dogs that run the property when I'm not home. You know what I mean? Those are the things that I do just to make sure. Like I said, if something's gonna happen, it's gonna happen. But I'm just trying to limit it as much as possible.
All right. Makes sense.
Hey, going back. Go ahead.
No.
I was going to ask about on the financial side of things and touching on the real estate a little bit, but just
I was going there.
Yeah. So I'm just curious, like, you know, how did you or how are you prepping your kids to be set up financially successful and being, you know, cognizant and independent on their own and learning? Like, I think it's great, the stuff that you're doing, especially on the real estate side of things. And I'm guessing, you know, you've instilled a lot of knowledge in your kids coming up. And where does that come from? Where does that mentality come from?
But the mentality came from not being broke.
Right.
That's straight up and down. My parents are, you know, like most parents that are not from money, they don't know anything about investing. You know, my parents still live in the same house that I grew up in. You know, they've owned that house for 44 years. They're still in Queens. My dad does not want to leave. He understands, he likes the area. He knows the area. He knows the neighbors. He knows when the garbage man is coming. He knows when they're cutting the grass. He ain't leaving. But, you know, with that being said, he's never invested $1 in his life because he never know. Nobody ever taught him. So I had to figure it out on my own. And with the music industry and radio and all this other stuff, you don't get a retirement. It's not like, you know, you get a 401k. You got to make your own retirement. So when I started having these kids and started getting a little older, I'm like, I'm not going to be the 60-year-old DJ in the club unless I want to be. You know what I mean? If I want to, that's fine. You know what I mean? But if I don't want to be, I don't want to do it because, I got to, because I got to pay the bills. I want to do it because I enjoy it. You know, even now to this day, they're like, yo, Envy, you still do the clubs? I'm like, I enjoy it. That's the biggest joy I get when it comes to music. Being able to be in a club and DJ and see somebody having a fucked up day and be like, you know what? He just changed my day around. You know what I mean? Or somebody having a birthday and you just made their birthday the best ever. So it's like, I wanted to do that. And the only way that I knew how to do it was real estate. You know, you look at all the big people, whether it was Trump or Rockefellers or whoever it was, they made their fortunes off of real estate. So I just started trying and just started buying properties. And at first I didn't know what I was doing. I would buy a property, I would live in it, sell it, and then go buy another property, live in it and sell it. And then you start learning. And then you just start figuring it out. You start asking questions and then you start doing it the right way and start making money. And to answer your question about My daughter's in NYU, and her major is environmental real estate. Right now, she's she's getting her real estate license as a sophomore, and I'm actually doing it with her. We're doing it together. I don't need a real estate license to invest, but the more knowledge is everything. So we're doing it together, and she's learning that. So this summer, she's going to do an internship at my real estate company, and what she's going to do is I'm going to give her a budget, and she's going to have to go to auction.com and look for a house and bid on a house and then buy a house and then, you know, get a contractor, and she's going to have to flip that house. And that's going to be her. That's what she has to do this summer. That's going to be her job this summer to do that. So, and we're going to document it, make it fun, and let her go through the process of going through auction.com, finding contractors, picking tile, picking stone, and all of that. So, you know, that's going to be her job. And you know, that's the first, and hope that she'll learn how to do it. And I think once she learns how to do it and she sees, you know, you do a flip and she'll get $80,000, I think she'll get addicted and be like, no, this is what I want to do. And that's what I'm hoping for.
You hear that, HGTV? That's a 5-part series that Envy just told y'all he's making.
Right.
I already have that deal.
Send the check.
Absolutely.
Yo,
Man,
so
you were inspired by his investing stuff, right? Didn't you do something off of that?
I'll be checking you and Caesar out actually for a while. But yeah, I kind of got into real estate investing. What was it, like 2018? I bought my first property in 2019 and actually just cashed out the investment on it yesterday. So they wired the money over and all of that. So I got my investment back, the assets there. It's got plenty of equity and it's paying itself plus, you know, throwing off a few $100 a month. So I went through the process and I've been really quiet about it. I mean, you know, to my friends in close circles, I talk about it only because I wanted to prove that the process that I decided to choose to go through it worked, right? I'm a kid from the Bronx who's been sold all sorts of dreams, and you learn real quick, like a lot of it is bullshit. So I got with, and I know you're familiar, and I'm not sure this is the strategy you guys use, but you've heard of the BRRRR method?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's what we apply. So BRRRR stands for buy, rehab, rent, refi, and basically repeat the process, right? So we were able to, you know, successfully do it. And so that's my personal story, whatever. I'm about to go make some more opportunities happen down in Philadelphia. But the question I have for you, sir, is in the context of real estate, right? There are methods, you guys have your strategy, how you go about acquiring property and like utilizing it to build wealth. And it sounds like part of this is what you're doing with your daughter and her internship. When it comes to like showing them the ropes of the business, is it hands-on like what you just described? That's your way forward, correct?
Yeah, I mean, if you know, the whole idea was, and I'm glad, I don't know, you said you were inspired. I'm glad, and that's the reason why I talk about it so much, right? I'm like you, I've been sold so many dreams, so many people told me. So once I figured it out, I realized what it was. And that's why if you look at me, I never take $1 from anybody. I don't have a fund where I take money and we invest. I don't do any of that. The only thing we do is the seminars, which we charge $99. And the reason we charge $99, I tell everybody all the time, is one, I got to pay for the venue. And then I bring every speaker there. So I bring the guy that's going to lend you the money. So if you need to talk to him, he's not charging you. He's going to get your credit and get you the money. I bring the credit guy there that's going to help you raise your credit. I bring auction.com where I get my properties from so they can break down how to do it. I bring a real estate attorney that anybody can use. And I bring all these people, hard money lenders. And if people want to talk to them and use them, you can. There is no, we got to pay it, but that's the only reason. The only reason I do that is because I like to inspire people. I want to show people what I'm doing. And for every celebrity that has called, and I've got so many celebrities, houses, loans, fix their credit, and they be like, yo, what you need? I don't want nothing. I want to see you successful. I want to see my people living next to me, and not just people from Black people or whatever. I want to see people from our community, that hip hop community that's living next door, not the guy that works on Wall Street and he's supposed to be there because he got, you know, family lineage of people teaching him how to do that. No, I'm talking about the people that just figured it out. But yeah, to say anybody that comes to me and be like, yo, E, I want to get into it. I got this. The first thing I'll be like, yo, meet me at my office. And then when they come to the office, I take them right to Patterson. This is my house. We in the middle of the hood. We stepping over heroin needles. We stepping over crackheads. We going through homeless people. There's rats, there's mice, there's roaches, there's this, there's bed bugs, there's all that. But this is what we're going to. so they can see like, oh, this ain't no game. This ain't no pretty, oh, I put a little money here and then, no, this is what I do. And I also wanted to know the process. And, and I tell everybody all the time, I'll get that fucked up house. That house that nobody wants, that got shit all over the place, heroin needles, I'll buy that. Because one, I'm gonna get it for a low price, lower than any other house on the block. And two, I'm gonna make the most money off that crib. So that's how I look at it. And I want people to see it the same way. So I'm hands-on with everything. It is no just, okay, invest and go. No, I've been to every hood. I've been to every crib, and it is what it is.
It's so I subscribe to 100% everything you just said, because the way I see it, and I'm actually about to start a fund with some of my close friends that have never invested a dime, and just put it in plain English for them in a way where we can go pool our money and go acquire a few properties, bring in a hard money lender, and leverage that money to make it an even bigger opportunity, right? And then be able to teach them along the way the little bit that I know and learn together, and then build up that opportunity. Like, you hear about Black Wall Street and all the opportunities that people like us have been able to like try to capitalize on, and for one reason or another didn't really make it too far. When you grow a pie big enough, like the opportunity is pretty much endless for everybody. You can't look at it like, yo, fuck that, I'm gonna just hoard everything over here, because you're talking about peanuts at the end of the day. With the potential of that shit really being huge, everybody can eat, and there's plenty left over. So I love your guys' philosophy, and I applaud you guys for doing what you do, man, because it's super helpful for those that are really serious about trying to make that move.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that, man.
Yeah, man, that information is invaluable. And I'm sure a byproduct of you saying you buying the cribs and that have the heroin needles and the crack houses or whatever, I'm sure the byproduct of that is that you're doing something that's a good investment for you, but it also probably helps that neighborhood out when you fix that crib out.
The neighborhood.
Yeah.
100%. All right, I got one last question for you before we head out of here, Envy. What advice do you give a father who looks at you and says, yo, this dude got 6 kids and I'm over here scared to have my first?
Mm-hmm. I mean, well, the first thing I would say is, fatherhood, as we all can say, is not about money. It's about time. It's about love. My kids wouldn't care if I lived in this house, if we lived in Queens, if we lived in the PJs. Just the fact that we all together. And every kid is different. That's one thing I realized. The way I raised Madison, which is my oldest, is not going to be the way I raised Brooklyn, which is my second youngest. They're all different. And it's just to have that real conversation with them. My kids come to me for anything, like anything. My daughter, when she goes on a date, she talks to me about the boy, and it's dope. And I'll just tell you a quick little thing. So my daughter went on a date with this dude, with this kid, and they were on a boat. They were in Martha's Vineyard, and they were on a boat. And my daughter had her phone, and the kid grabs her phone, runs upstairs, and deletes all her DMs. Right? Cool. So my daughter was like, "Oh, well." My daughter's like, "You know what? Well, give me your phone. Let me see your DMs." Dude ran upstairs and wouldn't come back down. Came back down 20 minutes later and was like, "Here, you can see my phone." Now, I'm a father, but I was also a fucking nigga.
Go ahead, kid. Yeah.
Exactly. So I'm like, well, you know what he did? He went upstairs and he deleted all his DMs and then gave it back to you, right? You do know that. She was like, really? I'm like, yeah. She was like, well, how do you know? I said, because that's what I would have did. I said, there was a point where I probably would have got a little worse. I'd have chucked the phone in the ocean. You can't see, I can't see, nobody seeing my phone. But I'm able to teach you those lessons that maybe people wouldn't necessarily get, or maybe he could have lied and be like, nah, I was just going upstairs, anything, because, fellas lie. But I was able to have that real conversation with her where she got it and she understood. And those are the conversations we need to have with our kids. Yeah, it's cool to baby your kids, and I hug my kids, kiss my kids, but also we got to be real with them. We have to teach them those life lessons before the streets teach them those life lessons.
Facts.
And that's the thing.
100%. So dads out there considering, or you are a dad, like, yo, get yourself in those conversations, because it's if you don't, somebody
get yourself
will.
6 kids.
No.
See, so Envy doesn't know. Manny Digital over here. I say it's a Dominican thing. He's always pushing for everybody to have more and more kids.
But you see how I didn't with Envy, right? I'm like, yo,
no, you didn't have to. He already had
He tapped out.
You up there, and he already talking about like this year we had 6. Like he's already thinking 8, 10, maybe.
He's trying to go for it.
Now I'm done. You know, it's funny. You know, I was talking about somebody the other day. Like, I think I'm gonna tie my